everybody. Happy Friday to you, November 14th, 2025. Kentucky Game Day edition of Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. TJ Walker, Stephen Peak in studio, and across the cement wall is producer Matt Childers. Hope you're having a great day to your Friday, and hope your weekend is looking good. Hopefully a little work, not a lot of responsibility or chores or errands that you have to run. Hopefully you're able to enjoy it, enjoy some sports. Kentucky plays tonight, looking to capture a BBN United championship brought to you by Kentucky Tourism. The finale of UK's MTE happening this evening at Rupp Arena, 7 o'clock against Eastern Illinois. Stephen Peak, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Might need to tap on that mic a little bit.
I need to give it a little taparoo.
Might need to hit it pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I can confirm he's giving it a good spanking. You were on the YouTube.
Try this one. Want to try this one?
I don't know why. Sometimes the other mic, you gotta smack it around pretty good, and then she'll kick on sometimes.
Okay. Well, I'll try this one for right now. Yeah, I'm doing great, TJ. What could I possibly be upset about on a beautiful, beautiful Friday afternoon?
I thought you were interviewing Reese Potter today, so it's just good to get to see Reese Potter interviews next week, I suppose.
Well, we started with the third best center on the team. I don't know. JQ may not play either, so maybe he will be the second best center on the team. But yeah, it was a good time yesterday.
Everything in the personal life going well, Stephen B.
Well, considering my personal life is actually just tied up into Kentucky sports, it's just ride the waves of that. So. Had a decent Thursday until I got back to Louisville, and the Mark Pope stuff. What he said yesterday in that press conference was blowing up, and then I'm going to this thing. I'm meeting my wife at Churchill Downs, going to this work event that she's a part of, and get the news about Jalen Lowe. And I just wanted to just take my phone and throw it right out the window, and just think about other things that I can do for enjoyment in my life. Then get so emotionally invested into this basketball and football programs at Kentucky. I just can't do it anymore, TJ. It's my job, and I'm going to do it. And you know what? I'm going to freaking go to this game tonight, and then I'm going to sleep in Lexington so I can be there for the Tennessee Tech game. Woo! Let's go, Cats, baby. We're taking on the undefeated Golden Eagles. And then I get to get on a plane on Monday and go to New York City, where I've watched Kentucky lose every time I go. I can't wait. I'm so pumped. This is so much fun.
How was the event at Churchill Downs?
I barely paid attention. I don't even know what they said.
Did you get to bet any horses, or were they done racing for the day?
Nah, they were done racing. It wasn't tied into horse racing. They were just using the Kentucky Derby Museum as the whatever. But I was barely paying attention because I was on my phone thinking we're gonna have to do a rapid reaction, or we're gonna. I don't know who else can be injured. We have 4 more injuries. I'm just waiting for something new to land, something new to hit that I could be more upset about. So yeah, this is a good Thursday. Woke up in a great mood.
Producer Matt, sometimes back in the old Kentucky roll call days with Nick Roush, the afternoon delights or the morning pleasantries, they could last an hour. Roush would tell me about what he had for breakfast, what he had for lunch. Stephen Peak is just straight to business. He's like, forget about our personal lives. I went to some stupid thing at the Derby Museum last night. It's unimportant. None of it matters. Let's just get into the sports talk. It's a change of pace for me, getting right into business.
Do you want to talk about? I mean, that's just really all I did. That's all I ever do. I put in 16 hours on Tuesday, and then another 15 on Wednesday, and then covered basketball all day yesterday.
The listeners probably appreciate that. Yeah, the listeners probably appreciate just getting, they don't want to hear us blabber about our personal lives. It's just I'm not used to it. I can't wait to talk about the Jalen Lowe injury. I've got a different perspective on it than you do, and I'm excited to get to it. Producer Matt, but before we do, let's check in with our producer. How are you?
I'm doing great. Had a really good day today. Last night was kind of rough. I was here in the studio from 11:30 to 11:30, so a really long day. But not bad, I got to help out Roman, let him celebrate his birthday a little bit, so I'm not upset about that.
Well, that's great. That's a good friend. That's a good coworker, good friend, letting the birthday boy celebrate his birthday. We had a good time yesterday out at 5 Iron Golf. Good to hit some balls out there. We missed Peak we missed you out in person, producer Matt. Sounds like you really were doing poorly on trivia, so it's maybe a good thing you didn't have the microphone.
I was getting so frustrated in this chair, especially the Louisiana Tech one. I was like, there's literally no way he can't figure this out.
I got it. I got around to it. It just took me a little bit.
And then Corey, but I can't even just blame you. Corey didn't know Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was just as embarrassing.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon show in the 2000s. Yeah, all right. Well, if only you had been there. But we did miss you. That is good that you're keeping yourself busy with work. What was Bellarmine going on last night?
So right after the remotes ended at 6:00. Bellarmine was at 6:15, and then I had to run the Pacers game as well, which I can do that one from home, but it started at 9. I was already here, so I was like, and the Bellarmine game ended at like 8:30, so I was like, I just might as well just stay here and do it, and then go home later, I guess.
What's the studios like at 11 p.m. at night?
Oh, it's fun. You know, there's a couple creaky doors, a couple noises. I think I can actually hear Stephen Peak yelling. Through text message, but like it's like through the walls.
It resonates in the walls.
It's kind of spooky.
Yeah, that is spooky. I'm sure it's probably pretty similar to what it was like around 6:30 and 6:45 way back in the day when we were getting up early. Scoot still gets up early. Oh, well, that's good. Good for you. Good company, man. You hear that, everybody at Big X Sports Radio? You got producer Matt burning the midnight oil and being a company man, letting the birthday boy go out there and celebrate. Well, good. I'm happy that that you're having a good Friday. Are you going to the game tonight? Are you going to Papa John's Fed Cred Cardinal Stadium?
I will be there.
Oh, okay.
I will be suffering through my Miller Moss football. I will be doing that.
Oh, a long-suffering Miller Moss football fan. Okay, I think I'm going to be there. The plan is for me to be there. It'll be my first college football game of the year, which is sad and crazy. And in a different world, in a different environment, it would be game one. I'd be at the Krog, and I wouldn't miss it. But different life. The wife, she wants to go. We got some tickets, so I think I'm going to be a good husband and go out there. The only issue is Kentucky plays at 7, producer Matt, and I've got to do the post-game show after that. So gonna have to figure out what I'll do there. We are
do it from the party deck. Do a nice little Louisville fan ran postgame show.
We are doing a Twitter Space postgame show, so good and bad. It's better being on the bigger station. You just get it's a call-in show, so it's better to be on the platform in which people can call in, and it's fun going into the 680 studio and whatnot. But it's the Eastern Illinois game. They've got some other, maybe Bellarmine again, or they've got something else going on tonight that's pushing us over to the Twitter Spaces, but it actually kind of works out well because tonight I'm going to be at the game. So have a game plan on what I'm going to do for the post-game show, but worst case scenario, it's in good hands with Zach Cantrell. But we'll be chatting about it right after the game. I will be watching the game while at the other game, which is never an ideal situation, but excited to be in person for some college football. It's going to be a little chilly tonight, producer Matt.
It is a little bit. I'll be up there. I'll be watching. I'll be expecting you in full blue from the hat down to the socks. I'll be like, there he is.
Oh, goodness gracious.
There's the sports talker over there.
The U of L fans would cry. I would go viral on social media. Look at this Smurf showing up to the game. I would get so many L's in the face, other fingers in the face. I would have so many people bringing up Tuesday night as well.
I think you would be legally obligated to just hold L's down throughout the whole game. Like, you can't ever put your hands down, can't pick up a drink, you just got to hold it.
It may be easier if I just get a sign with L's down at that point, and I can just point to the signs. Here's my sentiment. No, I'm not going to wear blue tonight. Don't worry about it, producer Matt. But if I did, I'm an American, and I could make that choice if I wanted to. It's a free country if I wanted to, and I would expect people to not be jerks about it. But then again, I guess folks like being jerks and like, how dare you wear a color that's unpleasing to my eyeballs at this sporting event? How dare you? But you don't have to worry about it. I'll leave the UK 2K shirt at home, at least until tomorrow.
I don't know if people still wore those.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere, man. Those things were so popular back in the day, the UK 2K shirt. If you were a UK fan and you didn't have one, oh, you better not even show your face. And then it got so popular that people were like, all right, well, I'm not going to pay $40 for a T-shirt or $30, whatever it was. So they made a knockoff one, but you could instantly tell which ones were the knockoff ones. Just the lettering was kind of bad. Coloring was a little different, a little off. You didn't want the knockoff UK 2K shirt. That's for sure. We'd love to hear from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. You text it on in. We'll do our best to read it on air. We do have a game tonight. There is a football game tomorrow. Cats look to make it 3 straight. I wonder when the last time they had won 3 straight games. Probably
in November.
Well, just in general.
Yeah,
but in November is a good question as well.
They started out 5-0 in 2023.
Hey, there you go. So you probably have to go
but
back
in November. We might have to go. Dude, I'm gonna have to think. Maybe 20. What did they do in 2021 leading up to that Louisville game? They lost to Tennessee. Maybe they beat Vanderbilt and they beat some weak team and then Louisville. So that was probably it too.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So not too terribly long, but you want to keep the momentum going. You want to look sharp. If the offense goes out there and hums and puts up a bunch of points, which I think they may, because I think that they realize you want to keep this rocking and rolling, then good. You'll have some momentum heading into 2 big games, 2 top 20 opponents, 2 rivals. Vandy's a rival in the conference, obviously Louisville a big rival. So you want to look sharp. It's not a game that you're going to get overly excited about. I don't think Kentucky football fans have been overly excited for a game maybe since Ole Miss, potentially. I don't think the Auburn game they got up for, and then while the Auburn win was nice, it had been a long time since they had beaten a SES or an FBS opponent at home. And that Florida game, they were able to do that. Admittedly, they're probably not getting up for an FCS opponent tomorrow. I don't think the Krog is going to be shoulder to shoulder, although it should be a nice day, I think, unless the weather has changed. But not going to be the biggest and the most full crowd, but just keep the momentum moving. Don't let this be a game in the second half or in the fourth quarter. Take care of business. Let Boley do some fun things. And if the offense looks good enough, you'll carry that momentum into the Vandy game where you may get an extra 1,000 fans that'll say, yeah, I'll go to Nashville. I like the way we've been playing the last 3 weeks. While you just wanted to jump into business with the Jalen Lowe injury talk, I just want to jump into business with football and Mark Stoops talk. Okay. I heard one Scooter Dingus this morning say that Mark Stoops should be in the running for SEC Coach of the Year. And I was just like, dude.
By turning this thing around.
Quit it.
He said that unironically?
Totally unironically. You were up late last night, Steve, or producer Matt, so you didn't hear it. I heard it live with my own earballs. I heard it. And then you have the promo for Just the Tip or Just the Catch with Michael Bennett, and he's saying the over-under was 3, which is not true. It was 4.5. And, oh, my goodness, they may get 5 wins. That's 2 more than the over-under. It's not. It would be a half a game above the over, which I told you would happen. No big deal. I'm going to gloat a little bit on the show today, just as a heads up. I don't like to.
Oh, really?
I'm the most humble guy in radio, but I'm probably going to gloat a little bit. I did take the over on the Cats and told people to do it. And I couldn't predict the wins. I was like, but they're just going to find a way to get one that we're not predicting. And it was probably the Auburn win or the Florida win, whichever one you look at it. But here they are. They just need to beat Tennessee Tech, and they'll get to that over on the season. But you've got Michael Bennett saying, oh, look, this is pretty good. If you get to 5 wins when everybody was only saying 3. No, that's not good. That's not okay. I'm not all right with it. So, Stephen Peak, there's your afternoon delights. There's our touching base. My Thursday, honestly, it's all blurring together at this point. I'm finding myself dozing off at like 9:45. It's concerning. I'm officially getting old. I'm officially old. I am old, and whatever. But anyway, what do you want to get into? Football, basketball, injuries?
I know. Yeah, pick one of the fun topics. You want to talk about what Mark Pope? We can kind of go order of how it happened yesterday, if you want. In the Mark Pope press conference, teasing a story, not getting to what happened. Now we can just sort of guess, leaving us all to fill the void with whatever guesses we have as to what happened before the Louisville game.
Fantastic cliffhanger, by the way. You should have wrote a book.
That is how you tease. That is how you tease a segment.
Yeah, it sure is.
I wish we had the quote pulled up just so people can hear it and hear it how he said it. I will say that it came.
Well, why don't we have the technology? Can't we do it?
Yeah. All right. See if we can
look it
figure
up
that out. It is on KSR's Instagram. If you able to find it on there. It's cut right at that point. Or it's 12:21 in our video on YouTube. But you want to wait? We can talk about something else until we get that pulled up.
Well, we might as well just hear it in his own words, and that way it's not, well, I heard it in this tone, or you heard it in that tone.
And I will say,
we'll just hear it and let
while
everybody.
He gets it queued up, I will say that he brought this up like near 13 minutes into the press conference, answering a question that was similar to the first question he got about being emotional, and he could have brought it up right then in the first question if it was something that, was a. I just don't think this is going to end up being a big deal. I don't. I think he just yaps sometimes. I think these coaches in press conferences just say things. I don't think it was calculated or that he's using it as an excuse as to why they lost. I just think he was talking. And he should know. He should know by now how this fan base and how the nation reacts to the Kentucky basketball coach suggesting, because it suggests that there might be a locker room issue, right? I mean, you could say that that's what he might be suggesting.
That's why Pope made a huge mistake in just saying anything like this whatsoever.
Yeah.
I didn't take it as that. I didn't take it as a locker room issue.
But I took it as a lot of people do.
An incident happened. That some U of L fan, worker, employee, they did something that was over the top, and my team didn't respond the right way to it.
Where was this at in the video peak? What?
That's the way that I took
12, 19, something like that.
Okay.
But that being said, you could be I could have just went in my own brain and went 1,000 different ways. You could
I don't
be right.
think it's that, though.
It could just be we were pumped up for the game, and it was too pumped up, and I didn't like the way our guys were acting in the locker room.
That's it. Yeah. That's all that I think it was. It was that his players may have seemed just a little nervous. Maybe they seemed a little too fired up. There was some jawing with fans in the student section a little bit, but doesn't that happen all the time? I mean, we were down in the baseline, and a Louisville fan was yapping at Jasper and Modi Abate, and they took the bait and they said something back. And maybe that's all Pope means. But that's not anything abnormal. I mean, Mississippi State fans were saying, like, terrible things to the Kentucky players either last year or 2 years ago. I kind of get them mixed up. But 2 years ago. And I was like, are you, like, it's crazy what you're yelling right now. But there's, that stuff happens everywhere. And sometimes players say something back. It wasn't like it was I know Jasper said something back to one of the Louisville
Which
fans.
would indicate something was unique.
Yeah, but that's just such a minor thing, and
that's why I think it's not a minor. That's why I'm saying something additionally had to have happened.
You say it was an emotional night.
Oh, I see.
You're going to have a lot more emotional nights throughout the season. How intentional are you at talking to your guys about keeping their emotions in check?
Yep.
How do you think they're going to do?
You always live in the tension with that. You always live in the tension. I actually think we did I'm not ready to tell the story yet, but at some point we'll talk.
Can I make a note before I listen to the rest of it? I don't like how he starts like he's going to say what happened,
Yeah.
and then stops himself,
Yeah.
and then keeps going.
In detail about our pre-game experience at Louisville, and it was out of character for us, and that's young and new, and so, I actually don't want to. I don't want to keep our emotions in check. It wouldn't be exactly the words. I'd say I want to keep them focused, and I want to keep them intentional. So I want our guys to have all of the emotion. First of all, what's the point if you can't have all the emotion? But I don't want our guys to be run by their emotion. I want them to be able to focus their emotion. And I know that sounds 30,000 foot level stuff, but that's I'm being very specific on that. And so that's one of the things with being an athlete, especially being an athlete at Kentucky, is this ability to kind of not dumb down your emotion, not bridle your emotion even, but to just channel it and have it laser focused so it's intentional emotion, so you're controlling your emotion. Your emotion's not controlling you is a big deal. It's a learning process, and it's something that we'll continue to work on this year.
All right. So I feel like the dynamics of having, and we're very lucky and appreciative to have Stephen Peak a part of Kentucky Roll Call, but I feel like naturally the dynamics, and this is somewhat interesting, have fallen where I'm going to probably be slightly more optimistic in some scenarios, where you may be slightly more pessimistic in some scenarios. And it won't be universal. There'll be some days where I'm pessimistic and you're more optimistic about some sort of things. But this may be the most pessimistic I've been with the 2025-2026 UK basketball team. Because if we're having to coach and regulate emotions, is this the 8th grade women's basketball team?
Yeah. I mean, it's an emotional game. And it's the first.
This is the University of Kentucky, and you're having, I want them to be excited, and I want them to be emotion, but I need them to have it more focus. What are we doing? I thought that this was a national championship contending team. I didn't think we were going to have to coach emotions during a big rivalry game. And all this is to say, I still think that my hypothesis is still potentially accurate, that something did happen that was aside from just your normal rivalry game jitters. Pope's been a coach a long time. These players have played in a lot of big games. I mentioned that going into the rivalry game. To make a big to-do about this makes me think something maybe outside of UK's circumstances, something outside of their control. It happened, and the way UK responded was not the way Pope wanted. That they were super amped up and they were angry, but it crossed a line that he feels like it impacted their play. Clearly, he feels like it crossed the line that impacted their play because he was still talking about it after the game, a couple days after the game.
Again, though, he brought that up 13 minutes into the press conference.
He brought it up. Who cares? He brought it up at some point.
If it was a bigger deal, I feel like he would have brought it up earlier. I mean, I do think that something happened, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I also think that Pope likes to tell these stories in 3 acts. So with the Jackson Robinson thing last year in the Gonzaga game, where he told a story at the end where he basically held on to the first act of the story, where at BYU Jackson yells from the floor, "Don't ever put me at point guard again." And then he goes into the point guard and he wins the game at Gonzaga, or wherever, the neutral site, against Gonzaga. And Pope then tells that whole story about how he said, "Never put me at point guard again." He experienced some trials and tribulations. Then he wins the game for the team at point guard. So he likes to do that. So maybe if they go and they beat Alabama in their next road game, which is crazy that the next road game is that far away. Yeah. So, but if they do that, maybe you'll hear from Pope what happened, how his players responded, and how they corrected that issue instead of just saying the negative part of the story. He says that a lot in his press conferences about how the media tells the stories of the team and of these players, and that when there's a negative, when things are going bad, write about it. We're not going to, I don't know if he said, we're not going to duck the smoke, is basically, to paraphrase what he said. And then when things get better, now that first story sounds like it, okay, you see how this story progressed in a positive way. And he said the same thing with Otega Owe when he beat Oklahoma last year in the SEC tournament. He said, what's so great about this story is Otega turned the ball over like 3 times, and then he gets himself under control and he goes and wins the game. So I do think that that's what he's doing. He's holding on to this story so that he can tell it at a later date when they've overcome the road game emotions and big game emotions. I just don't. I'm not saying it's a complete nothing burger, but I just don't think it's as big as what especially national media is making it out to be.
Mark Shakespearean Pope. I don't need stories told in 3 acts. John Calipari was flogged.
No, you're right.
He was flogged for being too cryptic, for not speaking clearly enough.
I haven't seen him.
Stop doing the do. Pope messed up with all this, and
I do agree with that.
I haven't really been totally convinced otherwise. He shouldn't have brought up, when I tell the full story about what happened, tell it right then and there and get it over with, or don't tell it at all. Don't do a half-truth. I was disappointed with him with the way he handled this. I still, talking about it more today, I'm disappointed in here having to talk about him regulating emotions with the team. That has me nervous about this group. I thought it'd be the opposite. I thought this group would be ready to rock and roll. No stage would be too big for them. And I don't have a big, grandiose take over the loss on Tuesday. I hate losing to Louisville, but I hate losing to anybody. It does happen, and I still was dreaming pretty big for this season. Final Four, winning an SEC championship. There's still a ton of talent on this team. Jalen Lowe's hurt. We will talk about that. So allow me to at least table that aspect for a brief moment. But if you're really having, it's days after the game, and you still seem physically defeated and talking about how you are disappointed with the players and their emotion, that is a concern to me that this team may just not have the chops. You got to be physically and mentally tough to be a Final Four team or a national championship contender. Now, you can have a terrible regular season and get hot in March, but that's not what we're wanting. We're not wanting a terrible regular season. With this roster, we thought it'd be a great regular season.
Yeah, I'm so tired of just saying that, okay, we're taking losses in November, December, but by March, baby, we're built for March.
I agree, and we thought we had the group that, all right, we don't have to worry about just playing for March. We'll be able to get enough wins throughout the season that it'll be enjoyable. Having to talk about emotion after a loss like this, I would have felt a lot more confident and felt better about this entire thing if Pope would have came out and said, our guys could not wait to get back on the floor on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, we got a little worked up in a rivalry game on Tuesday, but their response since then doesn't have me worried that that's going to be an issue getting up for games again. And if I can tell the whole story, you all, it's pretty wild. Our emotions, blah, 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 blah.
I just think that that's really crazy to think about when one of your main player during that game on Tuesday was Denzel Aberdeen, somebody who's won a national championship before, has been on that kind of stage where, all bets are off, the stakes are the highest. So, it kind of makes me wonder, who the leaders on this team are. Is it just a bunch of guys who are just playing together? Or
Ortega's supposed to be, but
you're right. Ortega is supposed to be, but, he hasn't really stepped up yet. And I think that he will at some point in that role, but maybe it's time to pivot to somebody like Aberdeen who has the experience.
Well, and that's it. He can talk about the team's emotions, and he could be singling out maybe just one or two guys, but he lumps them all together in with the team. But you're right. And with this Jalen Lowe news, there's a shakeup in the pecking order here with this Kentucky roster and how things are going to shake out, and maybe who the leader is. So let's take a break. Fun first segment, a little blend of the afternoon delights with a little sports talk. I've got some football takes that we've already touched on. We're not going to break down Tennessee Tech, player for player, X's for O's. However, we will talk about that game and what it sets up moving forward, and maybe a couple of gambling angles to bet for this college football weekend. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. TJ Walker, Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childers. Get your text into the Game Day Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line number. Game Day Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. We are under 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. That means Christmas right around the corner. Now is the time to get into shape. Don't wait till after the holidays. Make that change right now. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, and you'd be surprised with how quick and easy and just about a week, even sooner, you can start feeling a little bit better, start having a difference in your life. We'd love to hear from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line. You do have access to that, right, Steve?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's read a couple. Well, I'd like to read some that are more with the what we're talking about, and that is Mark Pope's comments about the emotion from the Louisville game. Was he leading on to a bigger story and just didn't want to tell it, or is he doing what Peak's doing and just kind of setting up the stage for a good redemption arc? It could be either one. I wouldn't be surprised by it. Some YouTube commenters say, I don't think it's that big of a deal. How many teams win their first high-profile road game? Purdue was smart enough to schedule theirs in the preseason. Probably a decent amount win their first. Ones that have national championship expectations. But Kentucky never would have wanted that game to be November 11th. The fans didn't want it to be November 11th. I don't think you're going to have Louisville and Kentucky regularly play the first week or within the first week, or I guess within 8 days of the start of the college basketball season. Yeah. That hopefully is going to be an outlier. You don't normally have true road games that early on in the season. Not just Kentucky, but really anywhere. Because you want to learn a little bit more about your team before you throw them in an environment. Well, let's hope Kentucky can learn from this, and let's hope that there's a benefit from this. And let's hope that we are making, because this is UK basketball and this is what we do, let's just hope we are making too big of a deal about all of this. And that really, hey, it's just a loss. We got to have some talking points from it. We'll go with the emotion of the game for this talking point if you're Mark Pope. It's not impossible. That's all this is.
Yeah, that, again, we'll see, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal. But Mark Pope should know, as the head coach of Kentucky, when you make comments like that, they're going to blow up. And it does for some people, I think, hint at some kind of locker room issue. And again, I do not think that's what it is. But just that you would kind of put that out there and then.
I never took it as a locker room issue
some
among
did.
Players,
Yeah.
But what evidence would it be for that?
Well, just that the words that you're using, I mean, it just, and I don't know, it just, when you talk about people getting emotional in the locker room, pregame, whatever, and I mean, I start thinking back to what happened at halftime of that Oakland game between Rob Dillingham and who was he transferred out, the guy, other OTE guy, Jordan Burks. When you had that kind of
at Central Florida now, yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of think of stuff like that. Again, I don't personally think that's what it is, but when you're reading tweets from national media members and college basketball analysts who are saying, oh, is there something going on in Kentucky's locker room? I don't think it would happen pre-game with a 2-0 team, a team that had, beaten Purdue in an exhibition and whatever, that matters. But you don't think there would be any issues within the team. But again, we don't really know because it's just hinting at something, some vague.
That's why I don't want to be the dictator, but just you shouldn't have started with I'll tell the whole story.
Yeah, or just
say it.
Because it's probably not a big deal. So you should just say it. And if it isn't, but that's that's where people are like, well, if it's not a big deal, why didn't he just say it? And if maybe he felt like if I say, oh, some Louisville fans got into it and our players took the bait, that it might sound like he's making an excuse or that. But honestly, should that have affected anything that happened on the court? I mean, you're going to get heckled by the visiting crowd. I don't care if it's Louisville or when you go on the road at Alabama. Or when it all happened last year. Man, I go to all the road games, almost every road game for the last several years. That happens everywhere. So that should not have any bearing on how your team is going to play. If it does, that's a big issue because, well, you got to play a lot more road games.
That's why I'm a little concerned, and that isn't even bringing up the bigger issue, and that's the news that Jalen Lowe so I wanted to get the full context of Pope's quotes about the emotion, about the whole story that he couldn't tell. So I listened to the entirety of the press conference, and somebody asked about Jalen Lowe, and I didn't love Pope's answer when he answered the question, and he said something along the lines of, "He's really sore, his shoulder's really sore, everything's really sore, he's sore everywhere." There's something along those lines, right? We could also get it pulled up, but there's something along those lines. And I was like, oh, dude, it was one game. Like, we've got to get you healthy. Like, we got to get it where you can play a game. So why were you
practicing so hard yesterday?
Fair question in its own right. I was going to bring that up.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'll let you get to it.
No, it's all right. That's where I'm going with this anyways. However, it did also bring me back to... Well, the re-injury brought me back to a conversation that I had with his dad where I said, oh, no, he's hurt. I don't remember my exact words, but I think I was like, that was a theme last year for him, is that he was hurt. I hope this isn't a theme for him this year. And I came on to the show, and I think I said I can already envision what the worst-case scenario for UK is, and that's he keeps re-injuring his shoulder, or it's a different injury, and you sometimes have Jalen Lowe, you sometimes don't, and you're never able to get full momentum. I basically spoke this into existence, unfortunately, because yesterday in practice, Jalen Lowe re-injured his shoulder, and according to the experts, it's a serious injury, and he could be out potentially the entirety of the season. You did have that's basically what the insiders were saying, for what it's worth, is that this injury was bad, worse than it was the first time, but it's the same shoulder, the same sort of stuff going on, but a worse injury to that shoulder. And the only solution to it was going to be a surgery, and that surgery would keep him out the entirety of the year. That's what the insiders were saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's just what the insider, the scuttlebutt behind the scenes, were saying. Then you have Matt Jones come out and tweet, and I don't know what he said on his show. Somebody inform me if there was anything.
I mean, I listened to all of it today. But
what he tweeted was, there is a chance that he may not have to have surgery, which could allow him to play again this year.
But then this is just going to keep being a problem, right?
Basically, two options. Surgery, you take care of it, bada boom, bada bing. No surgery, you don't take care of it, you let it heal naturally and peaks right. Maybe it turns into a big thing, maybe it doesn't turn into a big thing. So a couple things here. One, regardless, like if he gets surgery, are we under the assumption he's going to be back? Because I would not want him back. And I know that sounds mean and cruel and harsh, but I don't want to pay millions of dollars to a point guard that may have some injury history, now is coming off a major surgery, and 2 or 3 or whatever point I'm on, he couldn't shoot to begin with. So I wouldn't want to waste the money on that. I'd want to go get another guard or put all that money into Rippey or whatever it may be, because he could do a medical red shirt and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I will if he's getting surgery and that's it, then that should be it for me, or if I were UK at least. If he wants to hang around and play hurt, I'm okay with that, because either he goes out there and he plays, that's fine, or he can't. But it sounds like he's going to be out a while to begin with. So for the next 2 months, I mean, at minimum, and I'm just pulling a number out my butt, but for the next 2 months, Kentucky's basketball team doesn't include Jalen Lowe, and really probably let's not include Jaden Quaidance into the equation.
No, I mean, and I'm just continuing to lose optimism that we'll see JQ
that's fine.
at any point.
Then maybe that's a good mindset to have, just that you're not going to have them. But at least for the next 2 months, let's just view UK as the team that it's going to be.
Yep.
Aberdeen, Colin Chandler, the team you'll see tonight. Jasper Johnson, Otega Oweh, that's going to be your backcourt. And it is pretty much the worst-case scenario that it would happen to your pretty much lone point guard.
It was like the one spot that you couldn't have an injury.
The one
and
spot.
You had it in the blue-white game. Are you kidding me? And this is the second year now that we've lost a player for the season. This is if he's out for the year. We don't know. But if he does have surgery, if he does take a medical red shirt, that's 2 seasons in a row where you lost a starter because of practice. I love that they're going hard in practice. That's what you want to hear, right? But damn.
You talked about how sore he was.
Why was he even practicing?
You talked about how banged up he was.
Playing EIU.
And another reason that U of L UK game being the 3rd game of the year is so dumb is he probably wouldn't even played in that game had it not been the UK U of L game.
But it sounds like that
had he had that surgery in the blue-white game, he probably would have just taken a month off.
I see what you're saying.
But there was probably this rush to get him back.
Because they knew how important it was because they only have one point guard. Now, Denzel Aberdeen's going to slide into the 1, and that's...
I actually can kind of get excited about the future of UK's backcourt for what it's worth, but this is a major blow. There's really no spinning that. I can get excited about it because you don't really have any other choice, but this is a huge blow. This is the guy that Donovan Dent cost more money, and I think ultimately Donovan Dent just wanted to stay closer to home given the I'm going to get millions of dollars to play college basketball. All right, well, I'm just going to do it at home. Yeah, UK, you may be able to offer more. You may even have you may not have Mick Cronin being my head coach, but I think that dude just wanted to stay close to where he's from. But you were between those 2 options, and the one that you went with, or the one that you ended up with, is out for the year now. So it's basically like you got none of them, or you got neither of them. It's basically like the point guard you went and got in the transfer portal you whiffed on.
Basically.
That's how it shakes out with this injury.
Yeah, and so you can get excited about Denzel Aberdeen at the 1 because, he's the go-to guy now.
They're going to get pressured. You've already seen them get pressured when you even did have Jalen Lowe, but this is something that Mark Pope's going to have to figure out. His teams are going to try to get all up in your grill and press. And Otega Oweh, it's time to just wake up, grow up, and be the SEC preseason player of the year.
Yeah, but the issue is now, Aberdeen's going to he can't play 40 minutes a game. So yes, your drop-off from Jalen Lowe to Aberdeen, not that big of a deal in my opinion. You did look good against Purdue without Jalen.
I think Aberdeen's only looked good this season. I don't think he's really looked bad. Maybe he has a game where the stats...
No, he's been great.
All the little things he does.
But the drop-off between him and who your backup point guard would have to be now is massive. Because Colin Chandler is a ball player. Dude is on fire right now. He's shooting 54.5% from 3 since March 4th of last season on about 5 attempts per game. Right now, he's the leading three-point shooter in the SEC, but he's not a point guard. And Jasper Johnson clearly not ready to be a point guard. He's a shooting guard, and you need to have him, hit open shots. He didn't do that on Tuesday. I still like Jasper Johnson, but he's not a point guard. So what do you do when Aberdeen needs rest? And God forbid, he has some ankle tweaks, or because he's already been hurt too.
Yeah.
So what if he continues to aggravate this sort of injury that he had that had him sitting out for the Georgetown game? We didn't spend $22 million for, as Pope said, runaway talent. They spent it for depth. We have 5 players over 6'11", but we signed 1 point guard. We want to shoot 35 threes per game, but we only have 1 shooter. I love Mark. I really think Mark Pope is going to work, and there's a lot of people on our KS board that are panicking about this whole situation. And
does Oklahoma City Blue have any guards that we can go steal?
Can we go to Europe and see? Because isn't BYU trying to do that? Aren't they trying to bring in a player from the G League?
U of L's doing it.
I think I think they already I think he either committed to him already or. Because I saw it the other day.
I would say go get Tyron Stokes.
Isn't U of L's dude coming in at the middle of the year, though, but he's just going to redshirt the second half?
I think that is what it is. I think he comes in early, but he doesn't play till next season.
Yeah, but I think it's because he's redshirting, which makes me think theoretically, if they really
play.
wanted to push it, he could play. Maybe their just default is like, we don't know if he'd be eligible or
So we're
not,
just gonna-
so we'll just
yeah.
redshirt it and not have to fuss with it. But
it might be worth looking into, especially if Jalen, because even if Jalen doesn't have surgery, he's just going to keep popping out, right?
I'm never one that like, go find somebody. You can make it work. If we're talking about ball handling, you may need to go find somebody. And the good thing about this, it's still a desperate position. And I don't think that like, all right, Kentucky, oh boy, you just need to find a ball handler to get right back to that national championship level. Maybe this loss is so severe, Wheeler, that it just knocks Kentucky down a peg, unfortunately. Whatever. But we're talking about ball handling. You may find yourself in a situation where it's like you mentioned, with other injuries or with foul trouble, where you say, hey, Otega-Owe, you need to be our point guard. And that's just not a position that you're going to want to be
saw that
in.
in the SEC tournament last year.
And one thing specific about this spot is, while I don't think it changed necessarily the ginormous national championship picture for Kentucky, but you could be specific where, all right, it is ball handling. We just need somebody. You could go find the best underclassman dribbler that could reclassify, and that's hard. That not everybody qualifies for that. But with the way that they could just rig the systems, Shade and Sharp, the way they can just rig the systems these days, I figure it's possible for probably like 60 to 70% of them. Again, making that number up, it's probably not realistically that number, but just for conversation and radio sake. You could just go say, you know what, this guard's great. However, this guard can just dribble and get it past half court, and then we can have him get, as long as he can get it into the hands. Again, it's a desperate situation. I'm dumbing it down a little bit, but you could be picky about what specifically you needed from your point guard if you wanted to go that route. But it's not a good situation to be in. I don't think there's some mystery foreign G League reclassification option out there that you can snap your finger and change things. This means you're going to get more Denzel Aberdeen, which I don't think is a bad thing. I'm
cool with Denzel.
I talked about it on the post-game, on like 2 straight post-game shows. Maybe it was the one last Friday specifically. But Mark Pope was going to have some issues between Lowe, Otega, Jasper, Colin, Aberdeen. I don't know if I left one out or didn't say one. But you can only really play 3 of those 5 at a time. And he was going to have whatever he did. If it ended up in a loss, people were going to second-guess it. This makes his options a little slimmer, but a little bit easier, too. You're going to get more Colin Chandler. You're going to get more Jasper Johnson. Colin Chandler needs to be on the floor. When you're shooting that percentage, what is it, 56%?
It's 55% since March 4th.
Since March 4th of last year. So not even just like a small sample size of this season. You're going back to last season, too. So he's got to be on the floor. When you're shooting numbers that high, that'll come down, obviously. However, hopefully it doesn't come down much. He needs to be out there. So, more Colin Chandler. That's not the end of the world. Otega-Owe, he's been sloppy to start, but get it together. Now we really, really need you. There's not other options. Denzel Aberdeen, he's a national championship guard for a reason. More of him, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And I talked about how Jasper Johnson, his draft stock could be protected a little bit because he could hide on UK's roster ever so much, ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. All right, you're not going to get to hide as much. This is a good thing for you, I would think. Now, if he doesn't have the chops, it'll be a bad thing for his NBA draft stock. But this is a good thing for UK. Let's see what Jasper Johnson's got against good competition. He's going to need to go out there and he's going to need to play more. And you know what? If he's not up to snuff, we may get to see a sophomore Jasper Johnson. Or maybe we'll see that we don't want a sophomore Jasper Johnson. But I think that he was kind of in an NBA limbo. I know a lot of people don't disagree. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that. But I think he was sort of in an NBA limbo. Now we'll get to see. We'll get to know for sure if he's got the stuff to be able to make a big impact, because it's those 4 guys playing 3 positions the rest of the year, assuming Jalen Lowe is out.
Well, it just sucks because you are going to deal with injuries. And I was reading an article last year that the way that the game is being played now, you just have more injuries because there's more possessions. The game's faster. So, yeah, more guys are going to get hurt. So you would just hope that you could delay the first major injury to not be the blue-white game, TJ. You would hope that you could at least survive the first half of November before you have one of these. Before you have a season-ending injury to a starter, you would think, well, it would be great. Can we get to December before this happens? I mean, we lost Lamont Butler last year, first game of December, and immediately after that lost Kirk Risa. Back-to-back point guard injuries in back-to-back games. And now we're doing it again. We're just running it back. I said this the other day. I feel like I'm watching just the same Kentucky season for the last 5 years. It's so frustrating because this team did have national championship goals. Yeah. They can go on. It's not over with. They played 3 games, but the vibe of the fan base is like, all right, no more national title. Can we just have good seasons again? We used to win 10, 12 games in a row was not uncommon in Kentucky basketball.
For sure.
Our longest winning streak since the world shut down and took Kentucky basketball with it in 2020, because that team won like 10 in a row. Against Power 5 schools, our longest winning streak now was 6 games. That was in 21-22. Since then, since that loss to St. Peter's, our longest winning streak against the Power 5 schools is 5. Last year, it was 2.
Against Power 5 schools.
Against Power 5 schools.
As he says. So, yeah, you may get some cupcakes in a row. We're not counting those.
So, it's like this was the year that we go, okay, we can go back to dreaming again about Kentucky having a great season. Now, I love the 2014 tournament run, but isn't it just more fun to not have ups and downs and to be great? Like, I'm not asking for it every year, but once every 6 years?
What would you say to the people that would say don't punt on that just because you lost the top 10 road game in game number 3?
I agree. No, I agree with them.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I'm not saying that this can't be a good season. We can't as a fan base just have any enjoyment in the prosperity. The second that we start to believe, they just turn around and something bad happens, and then another bad thing happens, and then maybe they'll win. They'll win on Tuesday, and I'll be leaving New York City in a good mood.
Well, I get a little bit more nervous about that Michigan State game, who was going to pressure UK's guards regardless. How about that? The YouTube chat, it's popping. We see you. We see you on the Game Day Men's Health text line as well. Kentucky Roll Call, hour number 2, coming up next on the Big X. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. If your Christmas list is long and your budget feels short, we've got you covered. ShoppingKentuckyAna.com has half-price deals that make everyone happy. You can grab a $100 gift card for $50 or $40 ones for $20 and use them right now. From pizza nights to mini golf to family adventures, there's something for everyone. It's the perfect way to give a meaningful gift. Shop local businesses and keep some cash in your pocket. So before you spend full price anywhere else, check out ShoppingKentuckyAna.com. That's ShoppingKentuckyAna.com and find your half-price holiday favorites today. Wow. Sounds like an incredible deal.
That's great.
How do they even stay in business at that rate?
Just giving stuff away.
No kidding.
I didn't know it was a charity.
I love it. Our Game Day Men's Health text line is a charity of good thought. You texted in. We read it on air. Des Moines guy here. Peak, I'm absolutely with you, man. I deleted Twitter off my phone for 2 days after the U of L game and re-downloaded it last night just to receive more bad news regarding Jalen Lowe. If you missed hour number 1, go back and download the Kentucky Roll Call podcast wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Kentucky Roll Call. We appreciate that. Jalen Lowe re-injured his shoulder in practice yesterday, was supposedly screaming in pain for trainers to come help him, and it does not seem good. I will say Matt Jones seemed to have a bit of a positive update that it may not require surgery, and he could be back this year. But if it does require surgery, which is what many people were saying, it would likely, almost certainly, have him out for the rest of the year. I did have one person say it could be late February or early March, even with surgery. One, I don't know if that's true. Even if it is true, even if he could get back around that time. You're shaking off so much rust, and then you're changing up the way that you played for 3 or 4 months right at the most important time of the year. You could try it. You could do it. I remember, God rest his soul, but Terrence Clark, when he passed, he passed away months later, but in the year that he played, he was hurt. They brought him back, but that was a 9-win team that was in total and complete desperation mode. It didn't really hurt if Terrence Clark had messed up the momentum of the team. It was why not try
the last
something?
game of the season.
Exactly. And, he was okay in that game, if I remember correctly. He didn't make a ginormous impact.
He had 2 points, one
way or
from
another.
the field, and he played 10 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Kentucky still should have won that game. Had a chance to win that game. But you just don't bring people. Missouri did it with Michael Porter. He missed a ton of time, and they brought him back. And he was a lottery pick, so maybe if you've got a lottery pick, it's worth doing it in that regard. Jalen Lowe, I don't think is. You try it. You'd give him 10 minutes. If it worked, cool. If he provided a little spark, neat. But if you were relying on that to change your season around, you're probably in a pretty tough spot. So by all intents and purposes, it seems like Jalen Lowe will be lost for the season. And anything short of that will be an added bonus. The texter goes on to say, this season is either a dumpster fire or setting up to be a great comeback story. I hate to keep interrupting you, Des Moines guy, but I had to plug the podcast. But you all, it's 1 loss after 3 games. And I know the injury stuff is frustrating and annoying, but
We're just not used to losing to Louisville, man. You can tell the way this fan base responded, the way I responded. It just hate losing to Louisville, because it rarely happens, and you feel like every time it does. Well, this season sucks because the last 2 of the 3 times Kentucky's lost to Louisville, the team didn't make the NCAA tournament.
It's going to be okay, everybody. It's going to be all right. All right, I will finish your text, I promise. Pope is feeling the pressure, and unfortunately it's showing through his recent decisions. I hope he can figure it out. TJ, make us feel better, buddy. We're begging for some positive outlook. Well, hopefully I've given you some. And the most negative I've had is just kind of dissecting and breaking down Pope's emotional manipulation and being ready. And I hope that they need to be emotionally focused and not emotionally unstable. That has, like, dude, it's basketball. Are your guys ready to go play or not? And if they're getting a little too in their head. And who knows? Maybe Jalen Lowe seemed like a good leader. Like, I liked always seeing him talking to the other guys, whether he was hurt or not hurt. But I don't know how, I haven't workshopped this take just yet. Peak, it's been in my head, and I haven't really been able to define it or polish it. So it's messy and it's ugly. Do you want me to present it all the same?
Yeah.
In its natural beauty?
I want to hear it.
And it's, okay. Skinny guards haven't worked out well for UK. And I'm with the low injury news, I may just be out on them moving forward all time.
Trying to think of some of the ones we've had here recently.
I think the only one that you can claim that was successful would be, there's two that you can potentially
Cliff
claim.
Hawkins?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you want to go back 20 years,
yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
You could make a case like, does Brandon Knight fall in the skinny guard category? I say no for what it was worth. And I don't say Marcus Teague either because he was strong.
Teague, you're right on.
You could
100%.
make a case that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he was obviously very skinny, but he was like a wiry strong, you know? Like he didn't get pushed or bullied around. And neither did Brandon Knight. Yeah.
That's not a skinny guard.
No, but that was in his college days. That's like his like UK alumni.
Oh, that does
shirt.
say alumni.
Yeah.
My bad. All right, here you go. How about that one?
But all the same, correct, yes. Great for the radio audience, but showing pictures of Brandon
Google it.
Showing pictures of Brandon Knight with muscles. Just use your imagination, boys and girls. But but let's count the ones that I do put in the skinny category. Ryan Harrow. That didn't work out.
No.
That wasn't very good. I don't know if you do skinny, but you could do
Small.
Tyler Ulis.
Yeah.
Tyler Ulis is an outlier, but he obviously was an exception.
But he also shot the ball really well. Brandon Knight shot the ball really well.
Nobody that's 5'8" is sniffing a UK scholarship unless you're just this unbelievable basketball player. So Tyler Ulis actually don't even put in the category. He's an asterisk because if you're that small, you have to just be elite at other things, and he was elite at other things. So Tyler Ulis gets a little bit of a pass in our hypothetical. So Quade Green does unfortunately get put in the category. Now he was a little like thick for a small guy, a little meat, like a little baby fat to him, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but he was not good. Basically, the point guards that I deem not good are not good, Stephen Peak, and the ones that don't.
Exactly. That's how you make a good point.
However,
SGA probably does fall in the skinny point guard category.
Jalen Lowe is a skinny point guard. He gets pushed around, and it didn't work out. We've got some bad experiences with him. SGA, I don't know. He didn't get pushed around, but he is, by definition, he was skinny. But he was very wiry. Sneaky strong. He could get where he wanted on the floor and finish where he wanted on the floor. It's not like strength ever had to deter him to a different spot.
Yeah, I mean, there are skinny guards that are working elsewhere. I mean, and you talked about Tyler Ulis. Here's what I want. I want a point guard that can score. Lamont Butler was a point guard who could score, and then he got hurt, and his shot got all messed up. But I like it when I can rely on the guy.
That's why Lamont Butler's shot was messed up.
Hey, he was 10 for 10 against Louisville, 6 for 6 from 3, and then when he got the other brace that he had on his.
Didn't he only make like 6 or 7 threes leading up to that game though?
Lamont Butler was not a great shooter, but he could have good nights, as we saw. And Peak's also right. After he started wearing that thing, he didn't have another good night. But
he did when he took it off against Illinois. He did fine against Illinois. Was
he not wearing it for that Illinois game?
No, he took it off.
That's probably like a big talking point that I've just totally blanked on. How did he do against Tennessee? I don't think well. That game was over pretty early, unfortunately.
I thought he was one of the guys who played decent. I don't know why Google's failing me right here, but I was looking up his stats. He was. But he was a good scorer. Like he was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I did not think when they brought him in that he was going to be a scorer, and I think that's kind of the way I thought about him throughout the season when that really wasn't the case until he got hurt twice. I mean, again, we're averaging a point guard injury every 4 games, TJ, in the Mark Pope era. How is that possible? We've had 7 different guys who have run point for Kentucky that have all gotten injured. 8. Denzel Aberdeen, I keep forgetting, he did get hurt. 8 different guys have handled the point guard position, and all of them have gotten injured.
And, I mean, even Lamont Butler got hurt this year again. So the
curse carries over.
Once you leave Lexington, do you blame the Annabelle doll for this at all?
No, because it happened well before the Annabelle doll. Lamont Butler, he was 7 of 10 from the field with 18 points against Tennessee.
I was hoping the Annabelle doll would reverse the trend, and obviously it didn't do that either.
Like kind of like a sell your soul to the devil kind of thing?
No, not necessarily. Kind of like when you get hit in the head, you start like you can speak a different language, or you fall and you can become like the rookie of the year.
Oh, you're talking like
bro.
You're talking about Christmas Vacation. Like, yeah, she got kicked in the face by a donkey. Eyes aren't crossed no more.
Exactly. I was hoping the Annabelle doll would like when the donkey kicks back and you can just see right again, normal. Or like when you fall again and then you just throw the baseball normal again.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Annabelle doll was kind of a good reset. Like, all
I see
right,
what you're saying.
Oh, there's already evil juju here. Let's all just leave together. And then everything's back to being normal.
All the evil finds each other and they leave.
It's simply put, it's Mingus's fault. It's Mingus's fault. He said back after UK's national championship year that Calipari's never had any injury luck. And at that point, he was right. 2010 and 2011 and 2012, those were there were people that got banged up here and there, but nothing nothing too shabby. Ennis Cantor being like deemed ineligible was the biggest blow that Calipari had in his first 3 years, and it wasn't particularly close. And then Mingus, he tweets it out there, probably did some voodoo magic, that lib, and then he since then it was Nerlens and 14, Nerlens and 13. Willie in 14, Dakari,
Alex
Poitras in 15, 16, Scalabissier, we were sold a lemon. That counts. 17, we got cheated by John Higgins. That's basically as bad as any injury you could have had. 18, we got injured by Calipari's blindness to Quade Green and not playing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There actually were injuries in these years, but
nothing significant. No, but you're right. I mean, I do think that this has been a since 2020 thing. I don't know if it's the style of play. We're also doing a lot of load management for our 40 game seasons. Guys have had to just we've also I think this is the issue. No one is faking injuries, and nobody in the last 2 years is sitting out games. But I think Kentucky fans at least felt like that was happening a few years ago. I think they felt like, especially John Calipari with certain injuries, I won't bring up any specific ones, but would say, I don't know, you'd have to ask him why he's not playing. Well, that just leads me to think, oh, he's been cleared, he just doesn't want to? And that happened with several players, and so with Cal, we got so sick of it. Tell me if I'm right about this, TJ. I have felt that the guys sitting out games was like, that's one of the reasons that we were ready to move on from Cal.
That was not it for me at all.
No, but I'm saying that people were just getting tired of like, okay, we're getting these kids in. They all obviously have NBA aspirations, and they're getting small little tweaks, and like Ty just sitting out, and maybe he was really hurt, but then somebody asked Cal about it in the press conference, and he's like, I don't know why he's not playing. So then you're Jared Vanderbilt, I don't know why he's not playing, and so you're like, okay, are guys just sitting out? And that became like all right, we get these good players, but then they're on and off on the court, and then it was an issue, I think, for some fans. The Shaden Sharp stuff was an issue for some fans.
I don't doubt that it was an issue for some fans, for sure. That, in my very humble opinion, the most humble opinion, that's a dumb reason to be upset at a head coach. I was much more upset at the embarrassing, humiliating, program-changing tournament losses to 15 seeds 2 and 3 years.
Well,
that did it a little bit more than for me.
Of course, that
he was being coy with his injuries.
Yeah, of course that was the case, and obviously I know we saw Jalen Lowe get hurt. Like, all these injuries are legitimate, and it sucks. And all this time kind of feeling bad for ourselves as fans. I feel bad for Jalen Lowe. It sucks. You look forward to this all year. You trained for it all year. He seemed excited to be here, and you have the assignment everywhere in the locker room and in the facilities there at Kentucky. Number 9, and I felt bad for Jackson Robinson last year, who sat on the bench and just Pope, I remember him going up to Jackson at the end of the game, and you could see like Jackson just missed not being out there. That this was the moment he wanted to be out there for this tournament run, and he couldn't. I feel bad for these players. I feel bad for Jalen Lowe, and I feel bad for Big Blue Nation. Got our hopes up. Can we still, TJ? Can we spend the last part of the show at least talking about why we should still be excited for this season?
I was going to say, maybe producer Matt can play some of the Sarah McLachlan sad dog music in the background while you're saying that. I think it's okay. But
when you say okay, what is it like? Have you now tempered expectations for this year? Because going in, we all agreed this team should go to the Final Four. They spent the most money, more than any other team.
I still think it's a Final Four. It can be a Final Four team.
Okay.
Now, if I see them lose to Michigan State, and it's just clear that, Aberdeen can play guard in a pinch, but not full time, and all these guys can play point in a pinch, but when you don't have a real point guard, it's going to cost you, then maybe I'll change my opinion, but I don't view that right now to be the case. I still think you should beat Michigan State without Jalen Lowe, although that game, that was one that I felt pretty good about. Makes me a little bit more nervous just because Michigan State is really, really going to pressure the ball, and they're good at it. They've got physical, experienced guards, and that's just a tough baptism by fire game for a new backcourt. However, they had to – thank you.
Kentucky has had so many injuries. They are averaging one point guard injury.
I'm just imagining the pictures of all the guards, just pictures of them blowing up on the screen, going down, holding their knees and stuff.
They are averaging an injury every 2.3 games in the Mark Pope era.
With $5 to BBN NIL Club Blue NIL BBN.
You can help us sign the next player who will get injured.
Your shoulder could be implemented into Jalen Lowe's body.
I think they're just collecting the pieces.
$74,000.
You just collect all these different pieces and then just give them to Jaden Quainitz.
You want Kentucky to go to a Final Four, but the Final Four teams from last year missed a total of 15 games. Their players missed a total of combined 15 games. Kentucky.
That's unbelievable.
But
that really does make you think that you just have to kind of be lucky.
No, it is.
To get through a college basketball season. But it just so happened that all those teams were 1 seeds too?
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah. Somebody said this. The best ability is availability.
Wow.
DJ.
Sounds like a Mark Pope quote.
And Kentucky has struggled with having players available.
Oof.
That's like you can't win if you don't show up.
And they don't show up because they're injured.
Can't make the club in the tub.
Got to make shots.
Got to make shots sometimes in basketball.
But someday, TJ, Kentucky basketball will experience a season with less than 5 major injuries.
No.
And then
I'll believe it when I see
again about making the Elite Eight.
I still feel like you should win the Michigan State game, although I'm a little bit more nervous about it. North Carolina's at home. I don't care. You got to win that one. Gonzaga's in Nashville. I don't care. I don't think really I'm more nervous about the front court matchup in that one than I am the back court matchup, so I'm still expecting the win against Gonzaga. I'm very nervous about the IU game at Rupp Arena. Yes, it's at home, and I'm not changing my opinion on that based on Jalen Lowe. The way IU works off the ball and screens, Kentucky, I hope in a month, because that game is now just a day under a month away. It was a month from yesterday. I desperately hope, and they should be, Kentucky's a much better defensive team on and off the ball because Indiana will put UK in a blender with the way they move off the ball. So I'm nervous about that one. St. John's game, that one definitely becomes more difficult without Jalen Lowe. That may be the one that I had penciled in as a win that I would change over to a loss. I think that St. John's game is going to be tougher now. So maybe without Jalen Lowe, I'm adding an additional 1 loss to the out-of-conference. And in SEC play, I'm not going to break down the game by game for you, but maybe it's a loss there too. Maybe it's 2 losses there. So you're talking about maybe 2 to 3 losses. So maybe you're doing 1 seed line with Jalen Lowe.
Yeah.
That's maybe where I'm changing my expectations. That being said, as of today, with the way that I think they should play, Final Four is still very much on the table.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
It would be nice to get land a 2 seed, I guess, and it's just it is. Yeah, you can still go to Final Four, and we hang banners for that. We don't hang banners for regular season success, but I would like to have. I want Kentucky basketball once a decade, like I've said repeatedly. Once a decade, TJ, is that too much to ask that Kentucky can be one of the dominant teams? This is the winningest program. I know people are tired. I thought about what one of the texters said from a while ago when I said, like, this is Kentucky. You should have high expectations for not just postseason success, but regular season success. You should enjoy this. And I think, like, honestly, like, my emotions are so tethered to this that I find myself being more cynical and more pessimistic over the last 10 years in a way that I wasn't from 2010 to 2015, just in general, like pessimistic and cynical about things in general, because I want this to be fun. These months from November to March, I want to enjoy all of it. I don't want to have to suffer through a bunch of losses and talk myself into, well, this team could go on a run. It's not over with yet. We got a 4 seed, but hey, 4 seeds have made the Final Four. We can do it. We made it as an 8 seed. We can do it again. I want to have a season very soon. I don't think it's going to happen this year now. I still think there's a lot of things that we can still, this team's still going to win a lot of games, and they're going to win a lot of big games. And there's still going to be a lot of highs to this year. I just want one season. I'm not asking them to go undefeated, but I would like a 5-loss season. Can we get a 5-loss season again?
Could be this year.
Do you think so?
Could
I mean,
be.
you just said they could lose 3 in the non-conference, so you think they're going to go
I don't think it's impossible.
14-2 in the SEC?
No, I don't think that they're going to go 14-2 in the SEC.
Okay, so they're probably not going to. They had 6 losses in 2019, 2020. Then the world shut down, and they haven't really gotten back to that. And one of those losses was Evansville at home, all ranked number 1. And here's the other thing, TJ. And I know, I know that it's subjective, and I know it doesn't really matter. And I know you don't hang the banner because you're ranked number 1. But I would love for Kentucky to be ranked number 1 again at some point. The last time we did that, we lost to Evansville, and we haven't been ranked number 1 since. I would love to see that little number, that single 1 digit, right next to Kentucky's name again. And I know that means nothing. They don't give you a trophy for it. But it just feels like I haven't experienced that in so long. I just want to see that again.
I'm with you. I also want Kentucky to be the best team in all sports.
Yeah, but it should happen is what I'm saying. Like that, it should happen once every 7 years. Is that? I mean, am I asking for like too much here as a Kentucky fan? That once every 7 years you get to be where you're ranked number 1, and not preseason where Cal would get, oh, we're number 1, and then we'd immediately lose in the Champions Classic, and then we would never see that again. No, like number 1 in. When's the last time we were ranked number 1 in March?
15?
Yep. It's 2015. It's been 10 years. We're going to go 11 years and not be ranked number 1 in March. And like, it's Kentucky. Like, you're the winningest program.
I hear you.
All right, I'll be more positive for the last part of the
I like it all, but it does border just kind of on like, I think we all want that. And everybody's on the same page of wanting that.
Well, yeah, it's obviously not just something that we want. It should happen.
I agree, it should happen.
So why has it not happened?
Good question. It's part of the reason why Cal got the boot or the push out. And but nobody's going to really do that with Pope after just 1 year. So
no, I'm still pro Mark Pope. I still think there's no reason not to be. This is his first. Last season, he exceeded expectations, in my opinion. If that team stays healthy, well, why would we ever expect that? But if that team would have stayed somewhat healthy, there was obviously the expectations could have been a little higher. But once you had, all of the 30,000 little injuries that we had to have, you had to temper those expectations a bit. which I'm kind of finding myself doing now because going into the year, I said this team gets a 1 seed again, and now that road will be a little bit more difficult. But I don't know. This it does feel weird. I do think the loss to Louisville just kind of got into our psyche a little bit.
No doubt about that. And a bummer is tonight's not really going to do too much for you.
What's the BBN United Tip-Off Classic presented by Kentucky Tourism?
If you go and you dominate, it's all right. You should do that against Eastern Illinois, and you should do that. But if you go and you struggle, oh, no, you don't have your starting point guard, and and everybody's going to freak out. And it'll just be an annoying few days until that Michigan State game. But that's going to be the one. You beat Michigan State, people are, whether it's right or wrong, people are going to be able to convince themselves it can be okay without Jalen Lowe. You lose to Michigan State, people are going to freak out, and we're just going to have to live with that. And it's what we deemed or what we thought to be a fun regular season will end up probably being more toxic than any of us would have anticipated, where we're hanging on to wins and losses more than we would have imagined. But we'll see. That's the beauty of the season. It's going to play out. Hello, Kentucky Roll Call, says one texter. Patrick Murphy here. Is it good to have a skinny point guard to shoot from behind the arc? You're going to need your skinny guys to be able to shoot. Jalen Lowe, not an amazing shooter. Okay, maybe. And that's another thing. It just kind of is going to stink that we never really even got to see what he was fully capable of doing or what he was fully capable of doing having some talent around him. And it looks like we're not going to have that. He also says, does winning the BB invite help the Cats get more banners? Well, this is a championship. Are you all still going to do the sarcastic video?
No.
You pulled it after the loss?
Yeah.
And
Drew was like, that's going to look like such loser stuff to even fake celebrate the BB and United Tip-Off Classic presented by Kentucky Tourism. We might bring a net with us, but no, that loss brought down the vibes by too much, I will say. Too much.
Did you, totally unrelated to anything that we've talked about, did you see this from 840 WHAS? Work on the KFC Yum Center's main roof is nearing completion. I did know that they were working on the roof at the Yum Center.
We're still, like, this building is is costing taxpayers over $1 billion.
You have to update buildings. It's just, you can't.
No, but I'm just saying,
like,
yeah, I get that. Okay, go on. What's the rest of it?
The crews are preparing to replace the curved section with a metal panel retrofit design. Certain eastbound lanes of River Road between 2nd and 3rd Street will be closed beginning Monday. So when you're going along 64, and I think it's a really pretty drive for what it's worth. I know some people don't want interstates running through downtown, but I do think that's kind of endearing to Louisville. It's pretty. You get the Ohio River off to your right or your left, depending on which way you're going. And then you go past the Yum Center. The Yum Center has a curve to it. Producer Matt, are they taking the curve out of the Yum Center?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. I'm trying to figure out what Metro Panel Retrofit Design means.
That's what I want to know.
I'm like looking it up. It looks like I'm just on Google Images. I just typed in Metro Panel Retrofit Design, and it looks like it's just like a slant, like a ramp now. Or at least that's what the design looks like. So maybe you go from curve to ramp.
Isn't ramp just curved? Unless it,
I don't know.
Without an end?
Maybe we're getting from street skate to vert skate is what you're talking over here. So I don't know the difference. I'm not an architect. This is my extensive Google Images research I'm doing over here right now, but I don't know what it means.
Basically, is the Yum Center going to look different? Like, is it going to have a different exterior look?
I mean, they said they're removing the curvature, didn't they?
They
so,
did,
like,
yeah, to replace the curved section.
They're just going to blow out the whole wall?
With a metal panel retrofit design, which, of course, everybody knows what that means, Paul Miles.
I think they should just do, like, the vinyl siding of a house over there.
Ooh, just do that part like brick, like a brick veneer.
That'd be nice.
Everything else metal.
Put a chimney on it?
Yeah, exactly. I think we're on to something. And then you got to do it on both sides. But the glass is curved. Like the whole siding is curved. So I don't get how you would not make it curved. Doesn't check out to me. All right, anyways, we're going to take our last commercial break. We'll read your text into the Game Day Men's Health text line, a couple betting angles for this weekend. Cats take on Tennessee's Tech in football as Mark Stoops saved his job. SEC Coach of the Year, according to Scooter Dingus. Back after this.
it's just a fact.
Welcome back. One final segment. Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. Matt Childress, Stephen Peak, TJ Walker. Matt, do you want some potentially good news regarding Jeff Brom?
Did they give him an extension?
Well,
Lifetime contract.
I think it's coming, buddy.
Sounds like good news to me. You got my spine tingling over here.
It's coming down the pipe. And also, I think Zach Calzada is going to transfer to Louisville to make you happier. No, I'm kidding about that. But, and I don't have any inside information on the Jeff Brom news, but I'm trying to piece some things together. U of L has sent out season ticket invoices for the 2026 football season, which my dad has been a season ticket holder since Cardinal Stadium has existed. They've never done it this early. They've never done it. If they've ever done it when another season's been going on, it's been before that bowl game. But they've certainly never done it with 3 games left in a season.
Hold on, wait 1 minute. So your wife is a little fan. Your dad is a season ticket holder. What happened, TJ?
My mom, by the grace of God, is a Cats fan.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just the story just kept getting juicier and juicier. I was confused.
I have a heartbreaking story about fandom with my daughter that happened over the week too that I haven't really gotten around to talking about.
She wore red.
She did. It's heartbreaking. It's strictly a peer pressure influence, and it's really not even funny. And it's part of the reason why I just don't even want to bring it up. But piecing this all together, producer Matt, U of L asking for sending out voicemails for invoices for the 2026 season. They just need them some cheddar for the Brom extension. That's the only reason they'd be doing it this early in the year, is in case they just need to make the numbers look better. I love it. But really, I do bet that's my guess of why they're probably doing that.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like, all right, well, we just need to make sure that.
Like, you remember that expansion on the football stadium? Now we're going to do a dome. Woo! Woohoo!
502-414-1450, Game Day Men's Health text line. Yeah, so the idea was, like, the daughter will just get to pick what shirt she wants to wear or what dress she wants to wear. She's big into dresses, the 4-year-old is. And on Monday, leaving, picking her up from school, she was, saying, I get to wear red or blue tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, you do. Which one are you going to wear? And she said blue. And I got super excited about it. And she said blue because Elsa wears blue. Elsa doesn't wear red. And instantly, producer Matt, I was like, oh, man. This may be my in for the next several years that she'll wear blue during the UK U of L game because she's so into Elsa. And that was actually, okay, so that was on the way to school on Monday. Tuesday happens. We wake her up. We've got a red dress and a blue dress laid out. And I'm getting the other kid ready or I'm doing something else. I walk into the room, and the first thing I hear is the wife say, well, just tell him. That's not what I wanted to hear.
Go easy on him.
Well, I heard her talking to our 4-year-old, just like, just tell him. And I hear the 4-year-old's got the cutest little voice. She's like, Daddy, I'm going to wear a red dress. You're not mad, are you? And I was like, no, I'm not mad. Although deep down, I'm furious.
It's like the Arthur meme where you got like a fist next to your side.
Like my toes are fisting for sure. But I'm like, no, Daddy's, because she's so cute. And I'm like, no, Daddy's not mad. And she's like, see, Mommy, Daddy's not mad. And she's like, says it in her like normal upbeat voice.
Daddy's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Which made me think that like there had been an ongoing conversation. So what happened between she's wearing blue for Elsa on Monday morning to red wearing dress 24 hours later?
Or was the conversation before that, and Elsa was like a let me down excuse, where it was like, I'll tell Daddy, that I like Elsa, and that's why I want to wear blue.
It's more elaborate than I let on, but I don't know if
this
she's
has
that
been
elaborate.
a weeks-long plan.
I think that they talked about red and blue at school, and they said, hey, just so you know, you can wear cats or cards tomorrow. Her two best friends come from strictly U of L households without any good blue influence into them. And I fear that she heard that her friends JoJo and Hannah were wearing red, and she thought, all right, well, I want to fit in with them. I'll wear red too. I'd almost guarantee it. That's my guess what happened. If that's not what happened, then her grandparents got to her, who I love, and they're great. I'm very thankful to. But I could definitely see them getting in her ear and planting some seeds. I don't. I allow just whatever's meant to be. But between either the wife, peer pressure at school, or the grandparents, somebody is trying to corrupt my daughter. All right? And I'm not going to allow this propaganda. In reality, I don't really care, Stephen Peak. Like, it doesn't, I want her to be happy.
You do.
But deep down, I really probably do.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just like, again, do I? No. But people view me as like the UK guy in my little friend circle. I don't care about that. View me, I'm much more than that once you get to know me. No, I don't care about that. But there is like a slight embarrassment factor to it's like, I can't even get my own household in order.
You and Roush, man, I don't get it. You guys are Kentucky sports. You're Kentucky roll call, and you and Roush both are having your kids go over and pull for Louisville.
It's like, if I can't win the household, how am I going to change the masses if I can't even change the one inside my own home?
I'm more upset that you didn't tell anybody that happened that Saturday, that Tuesday morning, because I would have put so much money on Louisville if that happened. Like, those videos of like the dog who like shoots the baskets. Like, I've been like, TJ's daughter's wearing red, guys. Hit the spread.
The octopus that was picking the World Cup.
I was thinking by the end of the yeyear we'd have Matt pulling for Kentucky. Can't even get your kids.
And then just to like think that it was gonna because of the Elsa factor that I was like I had an in. I was locked in, and then just to hear the whispers on that Tuesday morning, to see the two exact same dresses, just one red and one blue. She always wears blue, but in this instance, all of a sudden on this day is the day that she wants to claim her fandom to U of L. And my wife. Like she had 4 fun years at U of L. I think 5. No offense. I think she did a half victory lap, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with doing a half victory lap because you need the extra semester for the college credits. A lot of people do it. I didn't, but a lot of people do it. I did just an extra summer. I just had to do a summer of summer credits. Was I a bit more responsible during my 4 years than my wife was? It's on the table. It's not impossible that that's the case. But I've been a UK fan since I've known what fandom was. It pays the bills to a certain extent. Maybe it pays like a small, tiny little portion of the bills. But UK success is, to a certain degree, my success. When UK's rocking and rolling, the show does better. Peak, you in the content game know that better than anybody else.
Yeah.
People don't really like following losers.
No. And actually, you look at I get to look at our YouTube numbers all the time.
And does my daughter's fandom change UK's overall success? Yes or no? No, but I want the late night watching games. I don't have a son, so I'm probably not going to get it regardless. But if I would want it, if there is a chance that she's just so into princesses, she's not going to be a sports girl. She's only 4 though. Things can change.
You live in this state. My sister was like that. She wasn't really into it until she got older.
That was a little hard.
She's fully into it. She was also having an emotional breakdown alongside all of us on Tuesday.
It was a little hard.
Yeah. It'll happen.
UK tweeted out Senior Day 25 and Zach Calzada. What's your favorite Zach Calzada memory?
Okay, this is terrible for radio, but I would love it if you came out on doing this for
he has to
counting the money.
If the student section
he needs to have Garrett come out with him.
Any sense of you get your parents with him, he just gets Garrett. Get his parents, but let Garrett be the kid. Yeah. You just have Garrett scrunched down next to him. If the student section had any sense of humor, If they had any sense of humor, they'd be spending their Saturday going to the UK Tennessee Tech game, I suppose. But a little Monopoly money in the student section.
Yeah.
And old Zach Calzada. If they get up big in this game, which I anticipate that they do.
Do you play them?
Do you play them?
Yeah,
that'd be
why
fun.
Not? Why not?
I say
Play 'em.
absolutely. Nobody is their worst mistake, and if that's his worst mistake, he's going to live a really, really good life.
Will they get up by a lot in this game?
I say yes. Although the trend with Stoops, this game screams competitive at halftime and like a 13 to 17 point win. Maybe if the stars align 21.
I was like,
however,
28-10.
the offense showed life against Florida. That was against Florida. It actually did some good things against Auburn despite not being able to put up a bunch of points and some mistakes there by Cutter. Keep that momentum going. You're going to have to score points against Vandy and Louisville. Louisville, you could maybe get away with winning a game like 24-21, maybe 21-17. That one could be a bit more defensive-oriented. I don't think that's going to be the case against Vandy. Vandy can throw the ball down the field. They're going to score on the defense. The defense played a lot better, but they're going to score. You're going to have to put up points against them. Keep that momentum rolling against Tennessee Tech. I think they score 40-plus points, as a matter of fact. So I hope that I hope that leads to Zach Calzada playing. That also, I got to just add, unless Stoops beats one of Louisville or Vandy, none of what he's done against Auburn or Florida has changed my personal perception of the program or of Mark Stoops and the direction of the program. I know other people, Big X, are starting to cozy up. I know other radio hosts are starting to plant the seeds that, hey, guys, 5-7, that's not that bad of a season.
You're telling me winning 2 games against teams with no coaches and no playoff hope is all barely a pulse is not good enough, TJ?
Shockingly, I've got somewhat low standards, producer Matt Childress, but not that low. Not that low.
Gosh, you were worse than peaked at the beginning of this show.
Now, if you do beat one of Vandy or Louisville and that's 6 wins, all right, I still don't think Stoops is the guy to get UK back in the college football playoff conversation or sniffing around 10 wins or anything that's a good offense at that. But he will have deserved another year at that point. If your only wins are against 2 teams that have fired their coaches, that's just not good enough for me. I'm sorry. So Tennessee Tech, you lose that, well, it's all over. So you can't lose it, but I do think you need to look good in it. I think they do, even though history tells us this has stinker written all over it.
Yeah, he's never lost one of these games, but he's gotten close a few times. What was the EKU game 2 years ago with Devin Leary? Was that 7-7 at halftime?
Was it?
Yeah, it was. I think Kentucky scored late to tie it. It was 7-0.
Blocked that one out.
But yeah, I do think though they'll come out ready to play. They're riding a little bit of momentum. The team is still apparently locked in. No availability report. There wasn't one on Wednesday.
You don't have to do it for FCS games. Just for the SEC games.
So a little momentum. Keep it going. Man, it'd be crazy to close out this season with a 5-game winning streak. Which is possible. I don't think it's probable. I don't think you beat Vandy and Louisville.
Oh, if you did though, that
would that sell you?
Yeah.
Okay, that would get you pumped up for next year.
If you would have told me going into the year that UK's going 7-5 and they had totally gifted the Texas game away,
you can't go 8-4.
Then I'd be like, I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that. It's just how you get there is always so interesting in the realm of sports. In the basketball world, Kentucky is a 36.5-point favorite against Eastern Illinois without Jalen Lowe, which they haven't made official. But what if it's just bad intel? What if they lied? They just wanted to get it out there to see what media members they could trust or not trust, and everybody failed.
Can I put on my tinfoil hat?
Sure.
What if there was no Jalen Lowe injury?
Jalen Lowe doesn't even exist.
Yeah. What if they were just trying to distract from Mark Pope's gaffe at the press conference yesterday, get everybody talking about Jalen Lowe instead of whoopsie in the presser?
Jalen Lowe is Act 2.
Jalen Lowe is Act 2.
And then Act 3 that he's going to get replaced by AI.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that the #1 Billboard country song is an AI song now?
No.
Isn't that fun?
Is it Mini-Men?
Is it the song I'm about to play before we on the show?
Oh yeah, is it the roll call song?
It's not the roll call song, but I think that's up there. No, this is a real song. completely made by AI, and it's the #1 country song in the Billboard.
I have
Top
thought
100.
more about I'm not worried about the AI music trend, and you shouldn't be either.
Tell me.
This is just like
Tell me why.
This is just like the girl talk trend or White Panda, if you're familiar. Ringing any bells for you?
No.
Wow, as somebody that goes on as many road trips as you go on, I figured you'd stumble upon across girl talk. Are you familiar, producer Matt?
Maybe.
It was really big when we were in
White
college.
Panda, but
Well, yeah, I hope that's not like some sort of dog whistle or something like that. I swear it's a musical group. I promise.
It does say White Panda musical group.
Don't put me on any sort of list.
Best known for remixing and releasing
Yeah,
mashups.
they like
Okay,
mash up
I see, yeah.
songs and remix music. And I remember like the first time I heard them, I was just like, I can't stop listening to this. And that's a little bit more like ravey, druggy, clubby sort of deal. But the point is, it was popular because it was just new. It was something different. It was songs that you were familiar with, but with a twist.
so it was like when people used to do
People
the
don't-
like chopped and screwed versions
Yeah.
of music. Those were terrible.
But people don't know.
Well, this is good
people don't know
versions.
that this is an AI song.
All right, when you all leave today, just in your Pandora, because everybody uses Pandora
Yeah,
like
okay.
I does,
Of course,
like it's
of
2005. Just make the station Girl Talk. It's just kind of fun, like club, different. Sometimes it's old school music, but it's got like the air horns in the background. It's just back in 2013 and 2012, that was new and it was fun and I enjoyed it.
Am I able to burn it onto a disc from LimeWire?
Absolutely. AI is having that trend right now. It's the same music, which we enjoy. It's just a different twist on it. So it's new to us. So we're enjoying it because it's new.
They don't know that it's AI.
Who doesn't know?
Like
it's
people
AI?
who are listening to it, they didn't know it was AI when it got to
Well,
the
it doesn't
Billboard.
matter if they know it's AI or not. They just enjoy it because it's just new music. It's just something
But
new.
that worries me. Well, I mean, I'm not a musician. Doesn't really worry me. But it's like, I don't want the computers making the art. I want the humans to do it.
It
It's
is-
the same thing as like when you see like deep fake videos. Like they're always going to get somebody. You know, somebody out there is not going to be able to tell the difference.
It's
that
the Billboard Top
when
100.
is
Donald
Top
Trump is
songs.
riding a
it a
giraffe
unique-
in a Speedo.
Is it a unique new song?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll have to listen to it, I suppose.
I sent it in our group chat.
Text
Which
her
I
on-
thought you were participating in.
A texter on the Game Day Men's Health text line says, if your wife wasn't as responsible as you during her college years, let's stay away from that. Something tells me we don't know what's going on. TJ doesn't know.
Is that a reference to Eurotrip?
We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend in college, so whatever she was doing, that's totally cool. But no, she, I think, wasn't just smart enough to graduate in 4 years, I think was her issue.
Either
the
was
bigger
I.
issue.
Either was I.
I
Was it-
say that jokingly. She is significantly smarter than I am. She has a degree in something that actually matters, not a joke like journalism. So that's probably why she did the extra semester. And in that extra semester is when I met her, so I'm happy that she did, and she didn't take some job out in other city that would have taken her away. So everything happens for a reason. She is much smarter than I am, and I'm joking if you all couldn't pick up on all that. Dexter says, Roush named his kid Duke. I swear he's a double agent. Roush, I really did think at some point, and I'm not ruling it out, Roush is just going to do an ultimate like wrestling heel turn because, one, his family is U of L, just for what it's worth. Two, I think he's going to start realizing, like, I'm an idiot. Why wouldn't I cover the team that is right next to my house?
You think he's going to start being like the Louisville KSR guy?
At some point in time, I think he's just going to say, like, I'm just a Cards fan.
Well,
There's no
remember,
way.
he is Mike Rutherford's co-host now.
I think at some
The
point,
Tennessee heel
that's
turn
actually
seems
going
more
to
likely.
I think he's actually going to be U of L Roush at some point in his career. I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened.
He's gonna-
And the fact maybe it hasn't happened, maybe it's not going to.
The new
When-
Rick Pitino, the
when-
new Marvin Stone.
When Brom took over, I really did think that either U of L was going to hire him to be on the football staff, or he was just going to be like, hey, I'm going to cover U of L now. I've got better opportunities with U of L radio. Everything's so much closer to the house. I really did think that was on the table for him.
Well, it's a good thing he's never tweeted anything negative about Louisville. That won't come back to haunt him if he ever did do that.
Oh, but he would just say, I'm a new man.
Oh, yeah.
Give it a
Oh,
chance.
they love that. Actually, the Bobby Petrino stuff,
Exactly.
they love when they get a new man.
He can caddy for somebody in his family.
Yes.
And then just like that. A texter says, Cal is a great basketball coach. What's that?
No, just that line. I always think that's just like the funniest. Like he just that makes him a good guy, and automatically a good person.
Oh, every U of L media member was like, "Well, good, I'm sold." Like, yeah, he left us in the middle of the night without saying bye to anybody, but he caddied for his daughter. Oh, that pulls at your heartstrings, don't it? Cal's a great basketball coach, says one texter. We got swept up in the emotional decision because Cal hurt some feelings. Kay lost big games. He shouldn't have two. Also Self. Also Bettino, says one texter. At the end of the day, people did switch up on Cal, and I thought it was personal and unnecessary, and I thought it was dumb.
He left.
But it's already 159. That's crazy. But he lost. He lost way too many games when it mattered the most. He brought that upon himself. All right, I think it's a 2-0 weekend for UK. No surprises, 2 blowouts. I don't think they covered 36.5, though, for what it's worth. Have fun, be safe, and we'll see you on Monday. I'm sure there'll be something to talk about. Get well soon, Jalen Lowe. Save your shoulder.